This is KMCV Channel 7, the only local channel covering all of the CNMI.
It may have been overcast all day, but it was hot in some areas of the Commonwealth.
Here's a preview of what's in store. Budget conferees have cooled down after yesterday's heated talks. Both sides make a move to bring negotiations back to life.
And a group of garment factories is trying to extinguish the heat coming down from federal officials regarding labor abuses.
And a drug suspect arrested last year can't seem to get his day in court. We'll tell you why.
And why not stay right where you are for this edition of KMCV News? Good evening and welcome to the Thursday edition of KMCV News. I'm Glenn Wakai.
And I'm Nanette Miranda. Thank you for joining us this evening. We'll have weather and sports in just a few minutes. But first, let's take a look at the budget once again. One day after the heated budget talks between House and Senate conferees crumbled, members from both sides are picking up the pieces. Today, representatives from each group moved to bring budget negotiations back to life. On the House side, Representative Pete Regis asked Speaker Tomas Villagomez to appoint new members to the committee.
You know, if I am the problem, if it appears that I am the problem stalling the passage of the budget, that I am recommending strongly to the Speaker that I be replaced.
Congressman Regis says that if and only if the Senate were willing to appoint new faces, will the House be willing to work on the budget again. According to Senate President Juan Demapon, this proposal has not been formally presented to him. However, he did say that although the idea is a step in the right direction, he thinks the current members can still work things out. On the Senate side, Senator Edward Maritita took a different approach. He asked fellow Senate member Juan Torres to be a goodwill ambassador.
Well, talk to some of the House members that are involved in the budget, you know, see what he can do. There's nothing wrong if asking him to go down there. It won't hurt.
According to Senator Maritita, Senator Torres has not decided yet whether he will do this. These attempts to settle the budget situation, though, do not come without each House firing the blame on each other. The Senate President says the delay of the passage of the Appropriations Act is due to a conspiracy concocted by certain House members.
Remember, all through this legislature, there were numerous moves or acts by the House to discredit or disrupt this administration. There was this impeachment move by the House, by certain House members. There were all kinds of things that the House did during this legislature that were all really working against this administration. Now, if you remember, these members that are in this conference, these were the same members actually that started all these movements against the administration. So how can we really expect, you know, a budget is a very important instrument to keep this government moving. How in the world can we hope that there will be a budget?
House Committee Chairman Pete Regis denies that accusation. He says there's no basis for the Senate President's theory.
They accused us that we were the same group that called for the impeachment of the governor. What relationship that has with the budget is purely, you know, personal. It's a personal attack by President Demapon, which is uncalled for, has no relationship with the budget. I don't know how he tried to relate the impeachment process of the governor and the budget. I just lost track. It's just incomprehensible.
Meanwhile, as the blame makes a full circle around the legislature, there's a little over 30 days left in the fiscal year.
There's a different fight going on in the business community. Over the past 3 years, the garment industry has given the Commonwealth a black eye in the eyes of the nation. But there are signs that the wounds are healing. The man heading the biggest group of factories in the CNMI says there have been material changes. The sounds of garment manufacturing has compelled the media and federal leaders to make their own noise. There have been articles of sweatshop conditions and numerous cases of non-payment of wages to employees. U.S. congressmen have withheld funding to the NMI in part to the problems surrounding the garment industry. Much of the controversy is focused on facilities operated by businessman Willie Tan. Tan admits to labor abuses but says things have changed. Now he wants to put all the criticism to rest. Meet the new and improved Willie Tan.
For the past 2-3 years, we've been working very hard to improve our living condition, working condition. And also, I'll say that we made mistake and we correct our mistake.
The L&T group of companies has made $1.5 million worth of improvements, which Tan says go beyond federal requirements.
We do not have any labor case for the last 2 years, not even a single one. That show that everything is in order.
To persuade the community that he's sewn up many of the problems, Tan is proposing to set up an independent community-based committee. The group will monitor the conditions in his factories and barracks. Saipan Mayor Jesus De Leon Guerrero has agreed to organize the committee.
If there's something that we need to improve, we will do it. And hoping that the wrong perception will change and the real fact will come out.
The accounting firm of Deloitte & Touche is currently monitoring all of L&T's payroll records. That information is then given to the U.S. Department of Labor. Tan says all of these measures are to show the public here and in the States that he cares about his 2,000 employees.
Sure, we're going to have a lot of things more to change, but the basic standard requirement, I believe we meet it.
Tan is a staunch opponent of the increase in the minimum wage. He says the raise, combined with proposed tax increases, will shut down the industry. Tomorrow we'll examine the future of garment manufacturing in the Commonwealth.
And coming up next, politicians from Rota and Tinian want to take control of their island's destiny.
And a local family responds to the Ninth Circuit Court decision made last week.
Politicians from Tinian and Rota are starting to feel a little tired of sitting in the passenger seat. To them, the budget delay clearly illustrates the bad blood between elected leaders from Saipan and elected leaders from Rota and Tinian. Here's a report on the difficulty the smaller islands are having in trying to get into the driver's seat.
Politicians from Rota and Tinian are frustrated. They want to be able to control their island's destiny, but they say they are always being kept at bay. These leaders say the budget negotiations are a clear example of how their islands always seem to take a back seat to Saipan.
It's a matter of, like what I said, the feeling that you are not part of this Commonwealth.
Sometimes you feel that you're being discriminated because of, Saipan is bigger, and what they were saying is that since they're making more money, they should have a say-so all the time.
During budget talks, both Senators Singh and Maratita have stood firm, fighting to keep their lapses, monies which are appropriated but not used by the end of the year. They feel they are entitled to these lapses because they gave up all of their funds earmarked for capital improvement projects.
They make it so difficult for 400,000 lapses on this budget to give it to Tinian.
This is the interest of the Commonwealth, because Rota is part of the Commonwealth.
The senators feel most resentful to the fact that of the $159 million in the Appropriations Act, Rota and Tinian only get $19 million combined. Senator Singh feels their islands need to be brought on par with Saipan, but that can only be done with more money.
The problem here on Saipan is overdeveloped, while Tinian was still striving for development.
Even party lines don't matter in the fight for money.
You might be on the same party. The majority right now is the Republican, is the ruling party now. But every time when the budget comes up, then there's no unity in the party. To each its own.
Because of this tug-of-war between Saipan and its neighboring islands, representing constituents from both Rota and Tinian have become an increasingly tough job.
Sometimes I prepare myself, I take shower, dress up from my home on Tinian, trying to fly over here already in my mind, I'm thinking what kind of problems I'm going to encounter on Saipan today.
Senators Singh and Maratita aren't giving up, though. Both are running for re-election this November. And in court news today, a local man arrested last year for possession of ice can't seem to get his day in court. The case against Julio Sangalang has once again been delayed. His first proceedings back in April were declared a mistrial. Sangalang's second trial was to begin Monday of this week, but a crucial witness for the government side, Stephen Tergetsu, could not come out to testify. Assistant Attorney General Russ Marsh says Tergetsu is in a California federal prison. In light of this development, Marsh had moved to have that witness's previous testimony admitted, but that motion was denied. Marsh is appealing that decision to the Commonwealth Supreme Court. Sangalang's trial, which was to begin today, was postponed until that decision comes from the High Court.
It was a big day in court out of San Francisco last week. The Ninth Circuit rejected the theory of a resulting trust and threw the Ferreira versus Borja case back to the CNMI Supreme Court. The decision is providing hope for homeowners embroiled in Article 12 disputes. For decades, this property sat as an ammunition dump on Capitol Hill. Then the cowards came along.
I hauled in probably over 400 loads of fill and made the property up to a level to where I could put a house on it. And then I proceeded to buy a house, well, bought a kit home in Australia and shipped it up here and constructed it.
He didn't just go out and hire somebody and say, here, build me a house. It's just, and even now he's up there laying tiles and what have you. So it's a lot of work and it's a labor of love.
But this lovely dream house has turned into a nightmare for the cowards. It began in 1986 when landowner Jess Santos sold the parcel to the Hofschneiders, who then sold it to Dan Villagomez.
You know, my relative will buy the property and I'll lease it from him.
But Jess Santos felt the lease between the cowards and Villagomez was a violation of Article 12. Thus, he consummated a second deed with Jose Mafnes for $10. Now Mafnes is suing the cowards under the resulting trust theory, since they put up the money for Villagomez to purchase the land. The newest twist to this case came down last week when the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals rejected the notion of a resulting trust.
Well, I think it takes all of everything out of the case against us. I don't know how long it's going to drag out and what have you, but there is no case in ours because there's no piece of paper in the world that says anybody but a local person has owned this.
We're very happy about the decision, but we are still not very comfortable knowing that Ted Mitchell, according to what I've read in the papers, is still pursuing the matter.
Attorney Ted Mitchell has indicated he will try and persuade the CNMI Supreme Court that it made the correct decision in 1988. Ken doubts that will happen.
I believe that they're going to have some common sense in this and almost have to reverse themselves because maybe they did make a mistake, but it's going to have to be corrected at some point in time.
We may have won the battle, but we haven't won the war yet, so, let's not get comfortable.
Business leaders have not been comfortable with the state of the economy. Article 12 disputes have been partially to blame for the downturn, they say. The president of the Saipan Chamber of Commerce, Roy Morioka, says the dispute is back in the right arena for review. He hopes CNMI justices will provide a decision which will amicably settle Article 12 issues. Joining us now is Longshot Willie for A Day in Sports. Big story out of Pennsylvania.
That's right. Our Little Leaguers had their game face on today and won their final game. It took 3 games, but our Little Leaguers showed their stuff. It was a close one with the pitchers doing all the action, but in the final inning with the score tied, Ray Guerrero hit the winning run in.
Day 3 and the final day of the round robin for the Little League World Series. The CNMI All-Stars took on Canada and beat them 4-3. According to manager Joe Sanchez, it was a pitcher's battle. The starting pitcher was June Joyner and relief pitcher Joshua Muñoz came in with the save. It was tied 3-0 in the third, but in the bottom of the final inning, Ray Guerrero brought home the winning run. We talked to Sanchez about the game.
We defeated Canada 4-3 game ball. The kids were kind of loose during this game. They feel like they're playing back home. They're used to the stadium crowds. Today's game, it was played perfectly. There's no error committed. Our pitcher struck out 8 batters. Our starting pitcher was June Joyner. Joshua Munya, who came in on the top of the fifth inning, hold the Canadian down. Then Ray Guerrero, our right fielder, brought in the winning runs on the bottom of the last inning.
Germany beat Panama today, so they will both go into the finals with both teams having a record of 2-1. In volleyball action, second place V6 needed a win to have a shot against Lost Boys for the season title. That game will be played this Friday. It took 3 sets for V6 to beat Lebwell.
The first game was an important game for V6 as they volley against Lebwell. They needed to win to have a chance at Lost Boys for the pennant championship. The first set was a close match. V6 was leading 12-8, but Lebwell came back to tie it up at 14-all. Lebwell took the lead at 16-15, but V6 scored the last 2 to win 17-15. The second set was also a close one, but this time Lebwell took it 15-11. The final set was all V6 as they defeated Lebwell 15-9. Player coach Barcinas had this to say about the match.
Game tonight against the Lebwell was a pretty tough one. In spite of our team not doing pretty aggressive game, we're playing an aggressive game tonight. It really hurts us in the second game because we lost a set. But then on the third set, we had to get our guys together and play as a team, because second set we weren't playing as a team, and then third set we played really well together as a team, and that's how we won the set.
The second match was between Express and Hot Tuna. Express lost the first set 15-7, but came back to win the next 2 sets 15-12 and 15-11.
That's it for me. I'm Longshan Willie. Please stay with us as Vicky will give you the weather report.
Good evening. A hazardous surf warning for the islands of Guam, Rota, Tinian, Saipan, and the Northern Mariana Islands has been cancelled. Our seas now are back to normal. Expect decreasing cloudiness and more rain showers for this evening. Mostly cloudy skies will take place with winds coming in from the south side with 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting up to 25 miles per hour near showers, and the low temperature in the mid-70s. Since the seas and surf are back to normal, expect seas that are slight to moderate 46 feet for this evening. Surf will be 5 to 7 feet on southwestern clockwise through northern exposures and 3 to 5 feet elsewhere. Our tides tonight will start off with a low of 1.6 feet due up at 9:36 this evening, and the tide will rise to as high as 2.1 feet as early as 3:36 early tomorrow morning. The sun will set at 6:37 this evening, and sunrise tomorrow morning will be as early as 9 minutes after 6. And for tomorrow's forecast, expect gradual decreasing cloudiness and showers, winds southwesterly at 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting up to 25, and a high temperature in the mid-80s. And that's all for our weather report.
Looks like good weather. It should be good weather for the homecoming. When are the Little Leaguers coming back?
They'll be back Sunday. They'll have the final championship game on Saturday, and they have an awards banquet that they're going to be attending. Well, actually Monday, I guess, with our time difference.
We'll look forward to covering that. And before then, way before then, actually tonight at 7 o'clock, there's going to be Asunto Sente with Vicky Tadella. We still found out who that girl is?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Your guess is as good as ours. On behalf of the entire news crew, thanks for joining us this evening. Have a good night and a great tomorrow.
Good night.
Night. Cheers.